Biscuits and tea.
Have you guys seen that South Park episode where they make fun of the people who do that stuff?
I think so. Yeah.
And it's like, obviously, I don't even know. I don't even know if I want to say it. Like can you even say the F word?
Oh,
Not fuck, but the actual bad F word. That I think in this context. Let me explain this.
Okay. Do you want to? Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, and I'll give you another.
The word fag or faggot has all kinds of horrible meanings, but it had other meanings in the past, and you know how generationally people have words that mean different things and have different meanings, different cultures and whatever it may be. But South Park did a really funny job at displaying what the word fag or faggot meant to them and to like our generation. When we hear the word fag, we don't think about someone who's homosexual. We think about someone who's just obnoxious or annoying or an idiot or all that kind of stuff. So when you're a kid and you're using that word, you're not thinking about hurting or like they would burn sticks, like a fag. It's like a group of sticks or something.
Oh yeah, it was a bundle of sticks. Yeah, I mean it's also the word for cigarette in Britain.
And what they would like they would obviously kill homosexuals for being gay, and that's what they would be referred to, and that's where the negative slur came from for homosexuals.
But the actual that it wasn't they wouldn't burn them at the stake. They would burn them with the rest of the sticks for whoever they were burning at the stake is what.
So that's where the slur derives from. But South Park, they tried to like shed light on that. Well, at least from the way I perceived it, that word has nothing to do with being homosexual. It's actually the people who go around and rev their engines and are on motorcycles. Like those are the people that are fags. It's the weirdest thing.
That's the beauty. Yeah. No, I agree. That's the beauty of South Park. I mean, those two guys are geniuses. Shout out. That's probably those dudes don't ever do podcasts and ever do anything. They will be on Biscuits and Tea, guys. Just letting you know. We've got to find a way to get to. No, they're brilliant. Those two dudes are genius, and all of the satire that they do. It's the same, and I don't know that it was that, but I definitely saw an interview, and I don't know if Matt Stone or I think it's Trey Parker, right? I think that's his name as well. Both those guys that do South Park. But the same goes for the word gay. As a growing up in like in the early 90s, calling someone gay as a kid didn't have anything to do with not even even calling a person that. It was what the weirdest thing about it was, like you could get a guy kissing his girlfriend,
exactly,
and you'd be like, that's so gay. You would say that. That's what you would say to him.
I used to say all the time where you're calling one of your friends and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing today?" I said, "Oh, hanging out with my girlfriend." You're just gay.
It's so funny because it clearly doesn't make sense. So it's weird. But yeah, society moves too quick sometimes, and we can't have a discussion about how that happened, and it just happens so quickly, and then the youth take it, and like the older people are like, that doesn't mean that anymore. You can't say
once I realized the history behind the word, and like obviously like I was scared to say it on the podcast. Like I was literally scared, but like I've never used any either gay or fag in any way towards homosexuals. It's always been some immature little adolescent, story or kid, thing that happened. Like you guys said, where someone's literally doing something that's not homosexual and you're calling it gay. It's like makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
But then you do run into the problem where like a bunch of gay people growing up also have had that used against them actually in like a hurtful way, even if
exactly, which is why we don't say it. Which is the reason. Yeah, it doesn't. It's because, and that's also what's pretty important, because it's in a sense, I don't know if I'm using this, the least common denominator. Like it's those people we tend to society, and it's also a fault because we do this in a very poor way. Like just hear me out on this, but like the reason we don't use those slur, clearly gay people are not in the majority on Earth or in the US or anywhere. But we don't use that as a slur because we don't want to offend them. That's a good thing for society. That's
exactly.
Good.
It's important. Yeah, and it's important that you and Tyler and me, like, we all understood that yes, we did use those words at some point in our lives early on, But when we did hear the concerns of someone else that it might hurt them, we stopped. And it's okay.
Yeah, that took a while to get out of my vocab.
Sure.
From like high school, like even early in college.
But
like
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
That's the
because it's always like such a reactionary, like it's just like curse words in general, just reactionary things where you just something happens and you just out.
Yeah. That's the whole point. I mean, it's a weird thing that it takes so long to get out of it, but it's also because you've attached it to something that they don't. You hear the same thing for racist like people. Like I think also you guys know who Cat Williams is.
Yep.
I know the name.
He's a black comedian. He's absolutely hilarious. He's truly crazy. He's absolutely
like fights kids. Like he's hilarious. Like he's hilarious.
Oh, I've seen that video.
He's truly nuts. He's also a genius. And also when you get him to calm down and sit and like see him in interviews, you go, oh, okay, so you're super smart. I see what's going on here. You're super smart and you're super eccentric. So, you've got both of those worlds going on and it creates this thing. But like you sit him down, you realize, oh, he's very talented. But like he on stage and in his stand-up acts would say it wouldn't even border really. It was basically homophobic. And so he would use that in some of his big specials. And then what happened is like, as the specials came on, people would start to say things. I think even Kevin Hart had his own issue with this also. But, growing up in like the black culture also as well, and like not being like, gay people weren't accepted. There's you've got a whole mix of things now to deal with and all this stuff. And Kat literally on stage goes, I didn't even know I was homophobic. Like he was like, I didn't know that I had. He's like, I don't really have any problem with gay people, but like I didn't know. Like imagine that's how complex human society is. Like, I don't dislike gay people really, but like I didn't know I was being homophobic.
Well, you think, I mean, he went to public school, maybe he went to church. You have all these influences telling you that that's not the right thing. You might not actually care about it, but you're being told it's not the right thing. And then there's all this culture behind these words and these things that we say. And it's okay, well, we start running into issues. But you have to have people like that go and do a live special and then say those things. And then people provide their input about, okay, that's actually crossing a line, or that's offensive to me. And then he learns. And then people learn. And then whenever we all advance. And that's the whole point, right? Like, why can't people make mistakes, admit they're made mistakes, fix it, and then move forward? Like we have such an issue with that nowadays.
Cancel culture, cancel them, cancel.
Kevin Hart, that joke is, first of all, these are comedians, and I hate when people. That's the only thing I don't agree with this whole Cat Williams thing is it's a comedic, it's theater, it's not real, it's a joke, and all people do with comedy is try to say that's not funny, that's not funny, that's not funny. Well, humor is how
don't laugh and it'll kill it. Yeah,
like. Obviously, the things that these comedians talk about that are serious in this area, like these little, very controversial jokes, like it's their way of getting through this stuff, understanding it. And, if it's a really sad thing, like the Holocaust, like, no, the Holocaust is not funny, but, people can make jokes about it and that can be a positive thing for people. And, like, I don't know how to explain it.
Take some, you're,
South Park had a whole episode on that with 9/11, where at what point does 9/11 can become funny, or you cannot become funny, but when can you joke about it? I forget what the episode was even.
I don't know if I've seen it.
I don't remember that one.
Was it closer towards?
They were making like some 9/11 jokes or something.
Okay, I really need to watch all the South Parks. I freaking love. But it is funny though, because if you think about 9/11 as one, how many times do people? On the flip side, all our politicians and literally almost anyone, it's hard to now. You want to thank people that did some great things during 9/11 or who contributed to either making things safer after. But like every speech we get talked to, they're like, and I was having a burger at McDonald's in Jacksonville, Florida, and on 9/11, then the. And wait a second, like you can't just say it. Everyone just says it. And so now we're like in a weird place where now you can just say 9/11 and now it's paid. We can't talk about it. We can't do anything,